Alright, we got a guitar here. I got two guitars to unpack. I thought I'd show you the process of unpacking and initial evaluation. Plus, we need a video on that. So, you've seen a lot of this stuff already, but maybe you'll pick up something here. So here's your first guitar to unpack. It's obviously a 70s, and I've had these both here in the shop for over a week. Just now getting around to it. This is why I'm not taking guitars, though. You see. Oh, man, I just am busy. But everybody agrees. Everybody who's shipping a guitar knows that it might be forever. Okay? Well, look at this. This is pretty. Sunburst. D35. Pretty. Let's go find out what's wrong with it. Alrighty. First thing I see, oversized bridge. Where somebody has set the saddle back, and this is the so-called famous saddleback bridge, which a lot of people advocate, and it just, honestly, it looks like crap to me. I know you don't have the scar in the front, but you got the bridge, the saddle, sitting in the middle of the bridge, and bing! I mean, I saw it immediately, and it just looks so ugly to me. This one's done pretty well. I mean, the curves are not really great on the side. They're too sharp for a Martin bridge. It's too big. And so, like I have posted many times before, you kind of choose your degree of ugliness when you're dealing with the 70s intonation. So you're either going to scoot that bridge back, you're going to put a shim under the neck, or you're going to have to go to that kind of thing where you scoot the saddle back. And this looks ugly, and I don't like the way it torques the bridge with the saddle sitting in the middle of the bridge as opposed to the front of the bridge. So, but whatever. We'll see what he wants to do. I'm just seeing what I see here, Got a micarta nut right away, man. Look at that first fret action. That is super high. And I'm not sure what's going on there because that looks like a stock. It's been shimmed. You can see the shim right there. Right under the nut. Looks like that nut's been shimmed. These are not stock frets. These are oversized fat frets. And I have videos on that as to why I don't like oversized fat frets. These bushings look weird. These are not... There's something funky about these bushings. I'm not sure if these are oversized bushings intended to cover up the hole or cover up the raccoon eyes there. But they look weird. And they caught my eye immediately. This one doesn't look like it's seated either. So, I don't know, those are kind of ugly. But they are Grover 18-to-1 tuners, so that's good. Grover 18-to-1s. And those are the good ones. So that looks good, but nothing we can't fix there if the owner wants to. Binding looks pretty good on the guitar. I can see it's been glued a couple times here. There's some sort of glue mask going on right here. And we're going to pop out. It's had a large sound hole. That's cool. I mean, I see it now. Pretty. A little bit of belly in the top. Maybe not too bad. Let's take a look inside and see what we got. Got to get my tools for this. So I got to, let's see. So let's look at the nut real quick here. So what I'm showing you on the nut here is that when you press it between the second and third fret, there's like a ton of clearance up here. So I bet it plays like a truck up here. Man, it's hard playing. Got a decent saddle. The action is really high, but some of that could be the nut too, because a higher nut is going to cause the action to go up more than you might think. So let's see what the action looks like here. 12th fret. Monster. That's 90 thousandths of an inch right there. Monster. But it's not bad on the A. Not bad on the A. I bet you a lot of that's coming from that nut. There's a bone nut on there. I can't stand those frets, but again, we'll see what the owner says, what he wants. He'll have a sheet in there. Oh, there's my mirror. Let's take a look inside. And they'll take a look inside too, as soon as I have a look inside. Let's go up here. Still has a popsicle brace. Still has a big massive rosewood bridge plate. And somebody used the StewMac pinhole repair tool, which is not my favorite repair tool. And I can see the marks on here where they swirled it around. So let's put the camera in here and take a look. And we get a mirror. We got a mirror and slap it down there. And some light. I'll bring the GoPro over. And there you can see big bridge plate. And if you look, you can see the lighter wood that they used to repair those pinholes. So there's that. Not much to see about the popsicle brace. It's just a standard popsicle brace. Nothing spectacular about that. But I'll show you. There's a popsicle brace right there. So that's no big deal. I feel like I could have done a better job on this. This rosette is loose. And they could have done a little bit better job right there. So I probably should glue this back up here, because that's going to be very, very difficult to work on for me. It's loose. We're going to get some glue in there right now before I lose that rosette. Okay, I'll have to deal. I need two hands to deal with that. So I think that could have been a little bit of a better job. It's rough. Should have smoothed it out and should put some glue in there to keep it from coming apart. So that's what I see. Might need a neck reset, but I've got to fix that nut first. Got to get that nut fixed up. Binding looks pretty good there. Otherwise, I'll get that rosette back in there before I lose it. There we go. Before I super glue, I'm going to find out what the owner wants to do. So let me go grab the owner notes. Let's go over there. My battery is not super. So here's the case, pocket. And this is what I have everybody do. Let's see what he's got in there. Strings. A little bit of payment money. That's the best part. And here's his list. And this is what I like to get from everybody. Is a list of what they want done. Hopefully it's in there. That might just be the disclaimer. Yeah, that's just the disclaimer. Well, got to go find out what he wants done, or if he's giving me just free reign on the guitar. So if I have free reign on the guitar, I am going to suggest. I'm going to suggest getting rid of these frets. I don't like them. Let's measure them. Let's measure them real quick. Calipers, just measure the width of those. Yeah, they're 105, and stock Martin frets should be 80 thousandths. So it's a wide fret, and the problem is a wide fret does not do you any good. I have a whole video on this, but a wide fret is just going to be like this, and when you try to put the string, when you go to put the string down, it's just going to give you a wide surface to intonate on, and it never intonates very well. It's good for electric guitars and bending, but on acoustic guitars, I do not like wide frets. Man, I gotta get that rosette down. I can't even reach inside the guitar without knocking that thing loose. Obviously, I'm gonna be reaching inside the guitar a lot. Okay, that's gonna be number one. I do not like wide frets, and these got some wear to them. They're 47 thousandths of an inch tall, which is not too bad. I mean, that's a pretty tall fret. If you want tall frets, StewMac makes a much better, what is it, 855? 748, 755, and it's 80 thousandths by 55 tall. I've got some over here. Let's go look. 148, so it's 155. 149. Now, see, that's what he probably has right there is 149 medium mason, and that's 103 by 46. That's probably what that is. But there's another one over here, 155. There it is. And the 155 is 80 thousandths wide by 50 thousandths of an inch tall. So this is the wire that I like to use if somebody wants a tall fret. And Collings uses that wire, I think, or they used to. But it's a narrow and tall wire. There's not a whole lot wrong with a little bit taller. I understand the reasons to use that, but I do not like a wide one. 103, that's 20 thousandths of an inch wider. I'm not a big fan of that, you know. So if you want a tall wire, use the 155 and make it 80 thousandths wide and 50 thousandths tall. So I'm going to recommend replacing that wire. I don't know yet whether it needs a neck reset. We can use a straight edge here as a quick test. And again, I have a video on this. Does my guitar need a neck reset? This is just a quick and dirty test. And you know, it's almost kissing that bridge. But this is an aftermarket bridge. It's thick and clunky. And let's see how big it is. I can tell by looking at it, it's got too much curve in the middle. So it's got too much curve in the middle. It's not a really super well shaped bridge. It ought to be, if it's a pre-war, it ought to be about 340 over here. And it is 300. So it's narrow over there. And in the middle, it's 340. And over on the treble, it's 280. So it does have a big hump in the middle. I could shave that down a little bit. How much was it again? 300? Was it 300 over here? Yeah, 300. So it's low on the low E side. I hope they got the intonation right. And they did. Did a good job on the intonation. So I would replace the bridge. I would replace the bridge with the more correct specs. This one's really wide. Measure it front to back here. It's 1.5 inches, 1.5. 1.50. And that's not a stock. I have a stock 70s around here. Here we go. Here's a stock 70s. This is 1.5. And there's a stock 70s bridge right there. So that's how much bigger that is than a stock 70s bridge. You know, it's considerably bigger. I saw it immediately that it's a big bridge. Let's see if I have my 50s in here. The 50s bridge has been living in Los Alamos where I use it as a model. But I should have another one in here somewhere. So here's a stock D28. And again, that's smaller. I'm not sure that's a stock one actually. Here's one. This is a good looking bridge. And there's the difference. You know, there's the difference in his bridge. I mean, that's a lot. And so I just look at it and look clunky. It looks really big. There's my guitar. If it was my guitar, I'd be replacing the bridge. And I would scoot the bridge back. And when I scoot the bridge back, it's going to go into the same footprint. The scar is just going to be on the front of the bridge. And then that's where the saddle is going to be. So the fulcrum of that thing is going to be on the front of the saddle. So this is the saddle. So you got, here's a saddle. Let's just get a real saddle. Show you this, okay? So right, it should be where the saddle is on the front of the bridge, and that's where the fulcrum point is. And let's just take a radical. What if we put the saddle in the back here, you know? Now you've completely changed the fulcrum, and you've got all this stuff up in front, and I guarantee this bridge is not going to flex the same as this one is, you see? It's not going to want to rotate. And so the more you scoot this back, the more you're going to get into this sort of situation where the front of the bridge is changing the whole fulcrum point of the thing. So you have it sitting right here in the middle, and it just changes it. So I don't like that. I want it up here. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be up here. So that's my reason for doing that, and the reason for going with a thinner bridge is it just looks better. So again, here's this one, 1.5. This is a 50s, and look at that difference. I mean, that's what I'm looking at. I'm used to looking at this size of bridge, and I'm looking at that, and it's just awkward, clunky piece of bridge. So if I had my way with this guitar, I would refret it with thinner frets. It's going to have a bone nut on it. I'd pull the popsicle brace. I'd do something about that bridge. We're going to get the bridge plate out of there and put whatever, if he wants, depends on what kind of sound he wants. If he wants a crisp, clear, clean, we're going to go with maple or black locust. If he wants a little bit more bass to kind of counteract this enlarged sound hole, then I'm going to go with the Southeast Asian rosewood, one of the hot rosewoods. We're going to do that. It's a D35. I don't scallop braces on D35s because they're thin, and I don't care that Martin has a HD35. I don't think they should have one. I will not scallop braces on D35s. I'm going to check all the back braces. It might or might not need a neck reset. If I put a different bridge on it, it probably is, because mine's going to be 340 on the low, and that's going to not give it enough saddle, and it's most likely going to need a neck reset. That's what I think. Here's some naphtha here. I'm suspicious of a crack right here, so I'm going to squirt some of that on there. Let that sink in just a minute, and where did my mirror go? I'm going to look and see if there's a crack next to the popsicle brace. And there's not. That's good. That's good. So this mess right here is just glue from when somebody glued the binding up. Alright, so that's what I recommend for this guitar. I'm going to send my recommendations to the owner, and let's see what he says. The good thing is it's unpacked. There's no cracks. Neck is on. It's gorgeous. God, I love Sunburst. And especially D35 Sunburst, because the binding shows. I mean, this is a good-looking guitar. Let's see what the next one is. Alright, we're going to unpack this guitar. Here's some tips on unpacking. I don't know if you guys know this, but if you unpack it from the bottom, it's a lot easier to get it out because you don't have to fight the shoulders. I use a razor knife, slice that. Let's see what we get in here. This is a repeat customer. Worked on a guitar here quite a while ago. I already know it's in here, I forgot. We will find out. Okay, so the good news. Oh, that's a different one. He's got this airbag in here. This is a different model. This is one that's not pre-curved. I used to not recommend bubble wrap, but modern technology. This is now heavy-duty bubble wrap, and it's good, sturdy stuff. It's really good, and I recommend it. Okay. He's got some paper in here on the side, which is fine. Get that out of there. Okay. Oh. Then get a hold of the guitar. Oh. Snagging, there it is. Once you get the handle, you're golden. I wonder if that's a double aught or something. It's a pretty small case. Stuff this back in here. I have not seen these. The other ones I've ever seen are the pre-curved ones, but this is alright. It's actually, yeah, that's good. Zip that up. Put the owner's name on the bottom, and then I'm going to toss it up here. Gotta find a space. Put his name on it. Let's look at my loft here. There's my loft with the cases. Now I gotta find a hole for this thing. I think there's room right there. move this case over. Oh. That box over. That one over. Oh, should be better if I was 6 foot tall, but I'm not. This makes good insulation anyways. I do have a ladder, but I don't really get it. So there's his box up there. Yeah, you can see it. There we go. All right, let's see what he's got. I'm gonna take the guitar over there to the bench, and I will be right back here with it. You've already seen one of them come out of the bench, and I'm charging my GoPro. Okay, I remember this one. This is a reverse. This is a, what is that what they call it? Balanza Negative. This is a limited negative. It's a negative limited edition. And it looks to me like it's like made mostly out of micarta. I'm sure it needs a neck reset, if I remember. God, that bridge is fat. It's got a crack in the top. Looks like it's been repaired. That's not on this strip. Got a crack, got some damage here. Woo. Everything is micarta here. The fingerboard is micarta. That is a massive bridge, my gosh. Wow. Pre-war should be 320, 340. Wow. 400. I mean, if that bridge was not micarta, I would absolutely shave that bridge down. I would take the bridge off, put it over there in the sander and reshape it. Because it's huge, you know? But it's the way it is, I guess. Yeah, 370. Golly, that's about, should be like around 300. It's about 70 thousandths of an inch thicker than a pre-war style bridge. Now, he wants to use black for a saddle again. Well, one thing I might do is just reset the neck to the saddle. I'm good enough to do that. I gotta look this over here. Oh, that's weird. It's got a real square neck block in it. Is that one of the new modern dovetails, or what do they call them? I gotta do a little research on this. Because that's a really super square block in there. Gotta make sure this doesn't have a bolt-on neck behind there. If it does, that'd be nice. Huh. Yeah, I can see that somebody's tried to. This has been repaired. This didn't happen in shipping. You can see the little scratches on it, and I think they could do a better job on that. Maybe. Maybe. I think my phone's going at me. Well, let's see if the bridge is loose, because that's going to make a difference in my diagnosis. Here's a 003. Yeah, this is a 003. And the bridge is tight. Bridge is on there tight, so I'm reluctant to take it off. But man, that's fat. What do the braces look like? I took this on because it was an unusual guitar, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting. I don't know, I might be sorry I did. You know, I don't want to have any trouble heating this up. I'm going to treat this like a D45. I'm going to definitely make sure, I want to make sure that's micarta and not plastic or something. before I put heat under there. And I think I'm going to be super cautious about even using heat, and heat the spatula up and try to work the spatula under there rather than using my normal technique. It's got binding on it. Whew. It's got scallop braces. Kind of a strange scallop. It's not a GE scallop. It's not a bad looking scallop. It's not heavy scallop. And it's thin. The braces are thin, so they're peaked. So the braces come up like this. The braces come up like this and they're peaked, which is a good thing. I like that because it gives you lightweight but strength. So I like that. No popsicle brace. Imagine that, because it has an A-frame. So this is an A-frame bracing, which is great. I love A-frame bracing because it frees up the popsicle brace area, but it also supports this part. With what happens is they run two braces up to here, up to the neck block, and it's pretty sturdy. It's got the truss rod cover on it, and it's got this big square neck block, which is curious. Definitely gonna have to find out about that before I go injecting steam into it. Is that a modern dovetail? You know, what am I gonna have under there? So this is going to be a little challenging. I don't really want any challenges. I can handle one, I guess. Take a look at that binding. I feel the binding. Yeah, we've got loose binding. Got loose binding right here. Which is a strange place for it to happen up here on the curve. Binding shrinks, and so for it to come loose up here, normally comes loose at the waist. And the waist feels good. This is loose at the herringbone. It's been repaired, so it has been loose. Yeah, I think it's been repaired. Not moving, but it has been loose at one time. Well, that's good to know. It's not a pristine guitar, so I'm a little less scared of working on it now. Tall back braces, yeah. I don't know, how does it sound? I'm sure it's not going to sound very good at the action this high. How are you? Let's check. The relief. Relief is good. Could be maybe just a smidgen lower, but it's pretty good. And what I do with my feeler gauges, you know. So I'm not going to get anything on the action, but just in the relief. The relief is fine. It's close enough, anyways. And high action. Yeah, 120 on the action, maybe 125. So that's high, you know, we'd like to see it 93. 120, here's 126. It's going to be more than that. 126 and an 8. A little more than that. 134. 125, 125, so it's 130. The action's 130. That's high. That's impossible to play. Oh, let's string it up and see. The top is wood at least, though. I was thinking it might be HPL or whatever it is. Man, that bridge. I'd have probably slackened the strings a little bit, but it made it. It's almost in tune still. So at least it's stable, you know. So you all always ask, why don't you play them before you modify them? Well, this is why, because it's immediately sharp. It's immediately sharp. Possibly because of the action. Maybe the bridge is off. Let's see. It's not bad. I mean, it's not a D18, but it's not bad. The neck is really thin. This might be the MLO neck. It feels thinner than my Bluegrass 16 though. It's high. Man. Tree branches. It's got sticky grabby strings and a massively high action. I can't even hardly move positions on it. I could play it up here when I was doing that, but that's because I was staying in one position, you know. But that didn't sound too bad. Of course, you know, it's got a good bracing in it and everything. The top is wood, so that overcomes some of the things. You know, my micarta bridge. I'm assuming that's micarta. It almost has to be micarta because I can't think of anything else that's white. And I know Martin has used micarta bridges before, and I'm certain this is micarta. I hope the fingerboard is micarta. It's pretty heat resistant. So I'm going to be able to, you know, gently heat that fingerboard, but I'm scared, a little nervous to do that. So I really am going to work more with water and take my time and patience and maybe use some different techniques. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit challenging. It's going to cost a little bit more money because, you know, it's going to take a little bit more time. It's going to take a lot more time. But we'll see what we got. I took it mostly because he's a repeat customer. It's an unusual guitar that I have not seen. And, you know, there's two reasons right there. And there's no rush. And so that's another thing. You know, if it takes me a year, it takes me a year. There's no rush on this guitar. So I'm just going to be very patient on it. But there we go. Number 41 out of 135. I wonder why it's 135. Is there something special about that number? HDN Negative, limited edition. Ooh. Ooh. Ha. I'm going to study this one a little before I work on it, but you know, this is what it is. Obviously it needs a neck reset. The nut looks good. Yeah, the nut looks pretty good. And I'm not doing anything to the tuners. And I'm going to be able to use this saddle here. I'm not going to replace the saddle. Even if I have to raise this saddle, I'm probably going to use a shim under it. Because I bet that saddle shot is really deep. And the shim is not going to hurt. The thing in this thing, especially my micarta saddle, you know, you cannot get too picky about having a shim underneath here if you've got a micarta saddle to begin with. And then we get to keep the original saddle, and I'll use a wooden shim glued to the bottom of it, and I'll raise it up a little bit. But honestly, if I raise this saddle much, then the strings are going to get really high off the top of the guitar, and that's just going to put a ton of torque on it, you know. So if this saddle was sitting this high, normally, this whole bridge system is going to be way over ½ an inch, and it's going to put a lot of torque on it. So I'm a little bit reluctant to do that. I'm kind of thinking, man, we're going to use this saddle, but we're going to get the action down pretty cushy. Do I even have ½ inch? Yes, I do. Here we go. See, it's way over ½ an inch. There's the 20th. 10, 20, 11 20s. Yeah, it's way over half an inch. So if I go up taller in the saddle, it's just going to be, it's going to be a lot of stress on the top. And I don't recommend doing that. I would like to take this bridge down to more of a pre-war spec, and they were probably not even going to need a neck reset, and you're going to have it down to where it should be. And we may do that. It's just a matter of taking the bridge off without harming anything, and then reshaping it on the sander, which my car, the shape's pretty good. It's not bad. And then you get a taller saddle out of that, but not increase the height of the string at the top of the guitar. So to me, working with the bridge is almost a win-win-win. You know, you're going to get the lower bridge, you're going to get the taller saddle, and you're not going to need the neck reset. You know, I'm going to struggle to think about that and suggest it. The bad part is, of course, you're gonna unoriginal the bridge. The bridge plate's nice and maple. It's kind of big, but it's all right. The bridge will then be non-original, but you know, the top is cracked, the binding's been loose. A lower bridge would be better, you know. So if it's non-original and it's better, then isn't that better, you know? How many Stradivarius violins have the original fingerboards? How many Lloyd Loars have the original fingerboards? Not very many. They're better. I kind of think, I mean, that's what I would do. I would strongly think about working with the bridge instead of resetting the neck. But I'll talk to the owner. Now, watch what happens if you run the straight edge on this one. Go down here. And boom, man, it's about 100,000ths of an inch below the top. So I'll have to do the math and see. We want to do the math, we'll do the math, okay? If you don't want to do the math, you can cut out of here. So let's see, what did I say? 130 thousandths. Let me get a piece of paper. All right, the bridge is 400 thousandths. And I would like to see it 320. It's called 340. 60 thousandths of an inch difference there. The action is 130. And we would like to get that down to 93 thousandths of an inch. 130 minus 93 is a lot. We may not be able to make it. 130 minus 93 is 37 thousandths of an inch. So we need the action to change 37 thousandths of an inch times 2. We're going to make it 74 thousandths. I need 74 thousandths of an inch of change over here at the bridge system. And if I drop the bridge to 340, that's 60 thousandths of an inch. But if I drop it to 320, guess what? 80 thousandths. So we have 80 thousandths of an inch to play with here before this bridge gets even remotely being too thin, because 320 and 280 is a perfectly good pre-war guitar spec. I wouldn't go any lower than 320, but we can go 325. You know, we can split the difference. And we can go 325 on that, and that's going to give us so much more saddle coming up out of here that it's ridiculous. It'll give us just, actually it'll give us the same, but it'll be down lower because I'm moving the bridge, the whole entire bridge. If we went to 320 on this, then that would take care of the 0.74, and we would have 5 thousandths of an inch left over, which we would use on the saddle. So the saddle is currently 120 right now, which is taller than I thought. And if that saddle was sticking out by 125 thousandths of an inch, if that saddle was sticking out by 125 thousandths and this bridge was 320, the bridge system would be perfect. And that would drop the action down to 0.93 thousandths of an inch, which is perfect. And everything would be perfect if we just got rid of this fat bridge. You see? That definitely is my inclination. That definitely is my inclination. I'll talk to the owner, see what he thinks. Oh, here's our last victim. And this one is another kind of an interesting, challenging thing. This comes from a pastor, a priest in Los Alamos. And he hosts a little bluegrass stand there. Anyways, he says, I've got a 1920 Gibson that needs a little work. And of course, boom, man, my ears popped up. And I said, does it have a scroll on it? Yeah. No, it doesn't have a scroll. I said, okay, well, I'll take a look at it. So he brings it to me, shows it to me, and this is what we've got here. We've got a popped off back, and this is an A4. This is an A4. Here's the label and all this. These are inexpensive mandolins, but what's happened here is the back is popped loose here. You can clearly see that gap. And the sides have deformed. So, first thing I did was try to push them in, you know. How well are they going to go in? I'm pushing on them with my thumb here, like this. And they don't want to go in. So, you can look at this right here. You can see that there's a gap between the neck and the body where it's supposed to be. So what's happened, this mandolin has been strung up in this condition. So what's happened is everything is separated now, and the whole thing has come up loose from the back. So I have to move this thing in a couple of different ways. I've got to bring the sides in, and then I also have to bring the neck back as I do this. It's hard to clamp that. See that? Really hard to clamp that. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to do this. This is going to be fun. Looking at it this way, I can see that there's a nail in here. There's a nail right there that I'm sure Gibson used to hold things together. It's making it hard for me to put it back in the right place because the position is slipped and that nail is causing trouble. I think what I'm going to have to do here, let's take a look at this. The thing is the neck block comes clear to here. So the sides have actually come loose from the neck block, and I don't know how they did that. It's very difficult to push this thing together as is. I don't want to force it. I think what I'm going to have to do, I think the best solution here is going to be to go ahead and remove the entire back. The binding is attached to the back, and this is nothing more than a rim. It's nothing more than a plate put down on the rim. So, and it's probably hide glue, so I ought to be able to loosen this whole thing off and take the back off and then see what's happening in here. And then I will use jig clamps on my workbench and push this back together. And it's possible that the rim has come separated from the neck block. So the neck block, it would be a square inside here, and it's possible that the rim has come unglued from that, which is going to make it very difficult to push back. Because I can see that neck block right there, and some of this distortion is happening on it, and it's just not wanting to come in. And I really think the best solution here is going to be to take the back completely off, and then see what I've got here. Because it's not wanting to work, and I don't want to force anything. I'm pretty sure that back's coming off pretty clean. I'm pretty sure I can get it off cleanly the rest of the way. And I have done this before in F-style mandolins, which are a lot more complicated coming around the scroll than this is. So let's just see real quick. let's take a spatula and just out of curiosity, see what happens here. Does it want to come apart? No, it doesn't really want to come apart. So it's going to need some steam or some heat or something. If it wanted to come apart easy, that'd be great. You know, then you could just take the back off. But putting it together like this, it doesn't want to do it. So there's still some glue right there. See that crack? Still a little bit of glue here, but I bet if I hit it with some moisture and some steam, it's going to want to come apart. And then we'll see what we got here. I got to get that nail out of there. And the neck doesn't want to come back either. Not easily, you know. I don't want to lose a lot. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on that. If I had the back off, I would be able to get inside it with some steam, because that's how you shape these things. And I would be able to steam it on the sides and push it in and, you know, pull it back together with steam and then hold it in my jig till that dried, and then I could put the back on, and I wouldn't be forcing things. And I think that's what's going to happen, because I've been studying this for several weeks. I've probably had it for a month now, and I've been thinking about it and studying it. And you know what? The binding is loose right here. I can see that. The binding is loose. So I'm going to heat this up, get it wet, work my way around here, because if it's hide glue, it's going to come off pretty easy. And it is hide glue, I'm sure. And that's what we're going to do. But this is another interesting one. And the problem with this is that you got to get the neck angle right, because it's a non-adjustable bridge. And so in order to get that non-adjustable bridge back in, then you've got to have the neck angle exactly right. And it's going to be just too difficult to do without getting that back off and putting it into a jig, where I can string, you know, put the bridge on there and check the angle and all that kind of thing. So it's probably worth doing. I mean, it's a 1920s Gibson A4, you know. We don't want to do any more damage to it. And got a crack on the top. It's not bad. I don't think it's even gone through. You know, these guitars, these were never humidified. And so, you know, Los Alamos is about 10% humidity right now. I'm better than that in here. I'm about 40 right now in the shop, so that's good. So that's my other challenging project. So, and it's been under a bed for who knows how long. So there's no rush on this either, as long as I keep him appraised of progress. So off we go. I got a lot of work to do.